What is up, Earth's mightiest subscribers? It's Ernie, Blerd without fear. Welcome back to the channel. Okay, so today's video, we are going to be getting a little treat by way of Chip Zdarsky and Terry Dodson, and that is X-Men Fantastic Four #1 of 4. This is kind of a comic I think a lot of people have been waiting on. I think a lot of people have been wanting to see what's going to happen. We've been teased this since House of X #1, and some would even dare say even before that, during the Jonathan Hickman Fantastic Four run. There have been some things that have kind of correlated between the two, but now that, all of this has kind of come to a close, House of X has come to a close, Powers of 10 has come to a close, Dawn of X has already begun. We've already seen how the mutants of Krakoa are now dealing with this new world that they are in, now that they've kind of taken ownership of themselves. And the question that has still been left unanswered is, of all the Omega level mutants, why has Franklin Richards not come to Krakoa? And we're going to answer that question, as well as maybe tackle a couple of other possibly uncomfortable themes that are in this comic that I know tends to upset people because they don't like politics and social justice in their comics, but it's going to be a thing. We're going to talk about all of that and more right now. But first, let's hit that intro.
Word to wise, grass only greener when it's fertilized. Gave them truth in these songs, they prefer to lies. Destiny beautiful, adrift in her purple eyes. You can't see me, you Stevie, wondering how I reach more evolutions than Evie and make it look easy.
Before we get started, if you want to see more awesome comic book videos like this one, it only takes 2 clicks to become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers. Click. This comic is spinning a lot of plates, and I'm going to go into right now. It's done pretty well. It's actually done very well. Chip Zdarsky is he's just on point. There's really no other way to say it. This comic basically is telling us how Franklin Richards has been dealing with being born into a family as famous as the Fantastic Four, having all of this pressure and weight kind of instantaneously hoisted upon himself because he has literally been born to Marvel's first family. Not only is he born to famous parents, but he has also has powers of his own. And not only does he have powers, he has powers that essentially make him a god. Franklin Richards is listed as a Omega level mutant on a universal level. He is, for all intents and purposes, probably one of the more powerful of the Omega level reality warpers. But the other problem he has to deal with, which is Exhibit C, he is losing his powers and he doesn't really know why. His powers have actually been a point of contention for him for, I would say, the last 10, 15 issues, give or take, of Fantastic Four. This is something that has not just been in the Fantastic Four comic, but it's also been a part of almost every crossover the Fantastic Four have been a part of since the Fantastic Four relaunched under Dan Slott. Every time Franklin Richards uses his powers, they become diminished. He begins to lose them more and more and more. He has literally gone from being arguably probably one of the most powerful beings on the face of the planet to being someone who could just as easily be, serving you your coffee at Starbucks next week. And that's no shade against baristas who work at Starbucks. I appreciate my baristas. Also, my wife was a barista for over 10 years. So yeah, no shade. Just saying that, you go from Fantastic Four to barista, that's a pretty, you get it, you know what I'm talking about. Anyway, with all this going on, everything that's happening, and everyone's ducks kind of being put in a row after the opening of Dawn of X, Charles Xavier and Magneto have now turned their attention to the world's most powerful mutant, who probably won't be a mutant for much longer. They want to get their hands on Franklin Richards and bring him back to Krakoa and get him back into the fold, put him where he belongs. And the thing is, they already kind of suspect that they're gonna face opposition from Reed and Sue Richards. They already know this. They anticipated it. This isn't news. They know, especially after House of X #1, when Cyclops encounter them, they're already prepared to battle the X-Men in case they come looking for Franklin. I also found it really interesting that Charles is going to use Kate Pride as a way to try to trick Franklin Richards into coming to Krakoa. Like, you know, a lot of people may forget that, and this is even brought up in the comic, that back in Fantastic Four versus X-Men, the original Fantastic Four versus X-Men from back in 1987, Kate was actually on Latveria and helped by Doctor Doom. Franklin used to come and hang out with her while she was, you know, trying to be helped. He would constantly like come and talk to her, and they became friends. Pretty damn close. Closest two people could probably get without it being a stat charge. I'm joking, I'm speaking facetiously. I'm not making light of statutory rape. Just anyways, they want to use Kate to try and, I guess, play on Franklin Richards' nostalgia, if you will. And as far as Franklin Richards is concerned, the whole thing surrounding him, the biggest problem is the fact that, yeah, he feels like his dad can't help him. He feels like his dad, Reed Richards, the smartest man on Earth, most likely, is not able to save his own son. And it makes him feel bitter. And even though I feel like Franklin probably knows deep down that, yeah, sure, it's not his dad's actual fault. It's just the one thing on Earth he can't fix. And this even becomes a running theme a little later on when he's talking with Ben Grimm. Franklin and Ben are sharing some milkshakes, and next thing you know, Ben is trying to explain to him that, yeah, your dad is not just intentionally trying to not help you, but he does bring up something that is a major point of contention, I think, for both of them, is the fact that, yeah, Reed is the smartest man on Earth, but he can't fix his own son, and he can't fix his best friend. Reed has never been crazy about the idea that Franklin is as powerful as he was. I mean, yeah, sure, he didn't mind using it when it suited his purposes, but for the most part, he's always been concerned about the fact that Franklin is basically a god who could create universes just at the blink of an eye. And of course, he always needed someone to back his play and be his muscle on the Fantastic Four, so why would he go out of his way to fix the one person who could fit that role? And you gotta admit, you look at this art here, and what Terry Dodson is putting together here, this picture he's painting is letting you know that even though Ben probably knows deep down this isn't really true, it did get his wheels turning. And I even appreciate the themes of here of what Sue is trying to explain to Reed, because Reed is a man of science. He doesn't really know how to rationalize things in a common sense type of way, but Sue is kind of the voice of reason in all this, and of course, being the mother of Franklin Richards, moms usually have that kind of intuition. Even she kind of has to break it down in layman's terms for Reed Richards, the fact that he grew up knowing that he was going to be this one thing, this one great thing, and then all of a sudden he knows he's not going to be that thing anymore. And now he has to try and find his way, and that's what Sue finally makes Reed understand, if he even understands it at all. Now, what I think is really kind of greasy here is when the X-Men pull up on Yancey Street, because at this particular point, this is when themes of segregation and separation come into play. And it is, man, it's palpable, man. It's one of those things that I know, like I said, a lot of people don't like it. They're like, oh, why are they going to talk about these things? Oh my God. But I mean, it is what it is. And at the end of the day, yeah, should there be segregation? Should there be separation? Is it better for two groups of people to just segregate themselves from each other, or rather just be segregated, by force from each other for the betterment of their futures? Or should people who are oppressed just remove themselves from a situation that could potentially harm them? It's one of those things that, there could be an argument made, for, separating oneself. There could be an argument made for not separating oneself. And I'm not here to make that argument for you, but I'm just here to let you know those themes are very well there. I think I have probably been one of the people who's been the most vocal about the fact that in a real world setting, I don't really think that separation is the answer to fixing issues regarding prejudice and racism, because all that really means is that you're walking away from a problem. The problem is still there, and it will probably come back again because, as we all know, history repeats itself. But this is a comic book. It's fantasy, fictional characters. So in this particular instance, I say, hey, if the mutants want to go take their ball and go play elsewhere, that is on them. But I will say, man, seeing Xavier in this position where, yeah, he's recognizing, yes, we are better than humans. We are above you. I mean, he's not saying it as bluntly as Magneto is, but he has to agree that, yes, we are better than you. We are embracing that we are better than you. And Reed is just throwing out the fact that he doesn't like how the X-Men have been doing business, kind of echoing what a lot of naysayers in the X-Comics community, or you would even say some outside of the X-Comics community, have felt about the way that, you know, the mutants are handling business lately. They don't like the fact they've become isolationists. They don't like the fact that, you know, they've separated themselves or see themselves as being better than normal people, when in fact, in a real world setting, if any of those same people became what the X-Men are, they would probably think they're better than most people. That's just reality, but some people don't see it that way. Neither Reed nor Sue want to give up Franklin. They don't want Franklin to go to Krakoa. But the thing is, Franklin, it seems like he really wants to go. He seems conflicted at first. Of course, he does seem conflicted, but it doesn't seem like he doesn't want to be there. He has a curiosity, and that's why Kate is there, because all the while Sue, who I kind of feel like, yeah, she kind of felt threatened. She felt as though her family was being threatened. So she acted in anger in a way that, yeah, she attacked Magneto. I kind of personally feel like that. I kind of feel like, yeah, even though Xavier and Magneto are talking greasy as I don't think that was really a necessary pull there, because it actually escalated the situation to the point where now it's not just Sue versus Magneto. It's now becoming Johnny Storm versus Bobby Drake. It's becoming the X-Men versus the Fantastic Four in the middle of Yancey Street. Now, there are a couple of points where I do feel like, you know, maybe Magneto is out of line in this situation, where, you know, he's saying, oh, you're basically trying to say that Sue has no right to try and keep Franklin from going to Krakoa. But at the end of the day, I mean, she kind of does. She is his mom, for Christ's sakes. But the real problem in this comic, and I think this is going to be a very major point of contention for a lot of people, is the fact that when Franklin, who sees an opportunity while everyone's distracted to just run through the gate and go to Krakoa, when he runs through it, he literally runs through it. Coming out the other side, he doesn't even crash into it the way that Kate did in Marauders #1. He literally runs through the gate, and it's all because of Reed. And it makes me wonder, what has Reed been up to? I mean, yeah, his powers are going away. His powers are failing him. But now we learn that the reason why he can't go through that gate isn't because his powers have officially gone away. It's because Reed made a device to basically cover up his mutant X gene. And with his mutant X gene covered up, he can't go through the gates. And he did this specifically because he knew about the gate that was outside of their apartment. He also knew that one day Franklin would try and go through it, and he didn't want him to. So he put this device in Franklin and basically took away his choice from him. And it also goes back to an earlier conversation that they had right before all this happened. Reed told Charles that he's trying to force a situation into resolving itself before the time is right. And now Xavier is reminding Reed that maybe, just maybe, this whole situation, that they don't have to do anything. The X-Men are going to go back to Krakoa, and this whole situation will resolve itself in time on its own. Even later on, when Xavier's talking with Cyclops, he recognizes that they don't have to approach Franklin anymore. He will come to them because of what Reed did. Reed violated Franklin's trust. And as a result of that, Franklin, with the help of Valeria, who seems more than happy to want to help him find his place on Krakoa, maybe more just because she wants his room, but also because she does feel that, yes, that Reed was wrong for doing what he did. Hell, everyone agrees. Ben even agrees. Sue even agrees. Even though she didn't want Franklin to go, she still agrees what he did was on some shit. And getting back to Valeria, she's so anxious to help Franklin, she helps him stow away on the Marauder. But the problem is, the Marauder isn't going back to Krakoa. It seems that they're going somewhere else. They have a mission right now to go pick up some refugees. The only problem is they have been attacked by Dr. Doom. Anyways, I thought this was a really interesting comic. I like this first issue. There's a lot of good stuff to pick apart here. I know a lot of people are probably going to get pissed off about some of the themes in it. and that's fine. I mean, honestly, if you haven't noticed by now that there's social themes in X-Men comics, I don't know what to tell you. But I think it's a good comic. I think it's a good kickoff. Chip Zdarsky literally came in and laid his dick on the table in regards to how he wrote this issue. I mean, this was kind of like a, hey, hold my beer type moment in regards to like what Jonathan Hickman has done with the X-Men. I feel like Chip Zdarsky is going to try and reinvent that with this whole X-Men Fantastic Four crossover. I mean, it's only 4 issues. I'm hoping that Franklin gets his powers fixed and joins the X-Men. That would be amazing. And I would even like for the Fantastic Four at the end of this to actually, you know, maybe get over themselves and maybe be friends with the X-Men. Maybe help the X-Men. Hell, maybe even Reed could figure out why, you know, if he can figure out how to create something to keep Franklin from going through the Krakoan gates, maybe he could figure out how to fix Kate's problem. You never know. Just let me know what you thought about X-Men Fantastic Four #1 by Chip Zdarsky and Terry Dodson. Sound off in the comments.
So hey, you made it to the end of the video. Awesome for you. If you enjoyed this video, and if you made it this far, I don't see how you didn't, do me a favor. Hulk smash that like button. And if you want to see more awesome videos like this one, make sure you click subscribe so you can become one of Earth's mightiest subscribers, and tap that bell so you know when I post up. Also, feel free to go check out my Patreon, where if you chuck in a buck, you can get early access to most of my videos up to a week early. And if you have time, make sure you swing by nerd901.com, where you can find more of my content as well as other amazing stuff. Anyways, until next time, I love you 3000 plus Ultra!